Hi, I'm Tom Scarpello of Revology Cars, and this is car number 327, a 1968 Shelby GT500KR in dark blue metallic with Alpine white Le Mans stripes and ivory Nappa leather interior. Today I'm going to take you on a walk around of this car and we're going to go for a drive. Let's get started. Okay, 1968 Shelby GT500KR, dark blue metallic, was an original color for Shelby. The Alpine white was not. The original white was Wimbledon white, which is a little more yellow. This is a BMW color. It's a very vibrant, brighter white and looks great as a contrast to the dark blue metallic. So the Revology 68 Shelby is almost identical on the exterior to the original. At the front, you really can't tell the difference. That is until you turn on the lights, because the lights are LED. The headlamps, that is. The fog lamps are halogen. Turn signals are LED. That's a giveaway that you're not looking at an original Shelby, but the hood fasteners, everything up front is all original. At the side, the tip-off is the 17-inch wheels versus the original 15-inch wheels. These are the Shelby 10-spoke. 17-inch wheels are required to allow us to package the much larger four-wheel disc brakes with 6-piston calipers in front and 4-piston calipers in the rear. We've updated the Cobra Jet badge. The original was a 428 cubic inch engine, so it said 428. Of course, we have the 5-liter supercharged engine that puts out 710 horsepower, so we gave it the 5.0 moniker there. The side stripe is original 68 Shelby GT500KR with the correct font. The side scoop, as per the 68 Shelby. 68 was the first year for the side marker lamps, so you'll notice that difference between the 67 and the 68. At the rear of the car, it's really pure 68 Shelby with the Argent tail lamp panel. The Cobra Jets all got the Cobra Jet fuel cap. The quad tips are reminiscent of the original, although they're slightly larger because we've got a larger diameter exhaust system, flowing a lot more exhaust gas than the original. And then of course, all the lighting back here is also LED and the turn signals are sequential. Let me just point out a few other small details that will tip you off that you're not looking at an original 68 Shelby. First, there's no key cylinder on the passenger side. It's not necessary because we have remote keyless entry that's standard on all Revology Mustangs. You do have a key cylinder on the driver's side in case the battery dies and you need to get in with the key, but not necessary on the passenger side, so it cleans up the appearance a bit. You have a right-hand mirror, which was not standard on the original car. We've replaced the fold-out vent window with a fixed vent window, and this is for reduced wind noise. That fold-out window was pretty notorious for wind noise. The windshield and the backlight glass are installed with a polyurethane adhesive, and the glass itself has a ceramic frit that covers the flange where the glass is adhered to the body. That improves safety. The glass is not going to pop out in an accident. It also increases the stiffness of the body. The glass actually becomes a structural part of the body and it improves the body stiffness. And finally, you do not have a radio antenna mast. It's not necessary because we use a powered antenna. So a few little details that the sharp-eyed viewer would notice, but most people would never notice. The attention to detail extends to the interior. This car is equipped with the optional Nappa leather interior. This is a Mercedes ivory. The dash pad is a Porsche leather. It's a dark blue, and this client opted for the wrapped steering wheel in the matching dark blue. Car's an automatic transmission, so it comes with our T-handle shifter. The veneer is genuine walnut. This is quarter-cut walnut veneer. The carpet is a nylon loop molded carpet in navy to match the dash and the steering wheel. This car has the Alcantara headliner with matching sun visors and premium audio. But the big news for this car you can't see, and that's the revised shock tuning. So we're gonna go for a ride and talk about that. All right, let's get going. Okay, we're driving car 327 68 GT500KR. So something about this car is that it features our revised shock tuning and spring rates. People who have followed us for a while will know that we use two different front suspension configurations, one for the supercharged cars and one for the naturally aspirated cars. We made this change when we introduced the first supercharged car several years ago. That was car 17. And the reason it was necessary is we had to lower the engine in the chassis to be able to package the supercharger under the stock 67 Shelby hood. We really didn't want to modify the exterior appearance of the vehicle. And the aluminum subframe allowed us to get that engine lower. Incidentally helps with lowering the center of gravity, which is always a plus. Not a huge deal for most conditions on the street, but it helps definitely. And that lighter subframe also improves weight distribution front and rear. And on some of our configurations that use the aluminum subframe, we have almost 50-50 weight distribution. It's like 50.5 to 49.5 front rear. It's a lot more expensive setup, so you always have to consider the incremental cost of something versus the incremental benefit and whether it's really the right thing for that particular application. So anyway, we settled on it for the supercharged cars. And because the supercharged cars are more oriented towards performance, as well, they're 710 horsepower, we went with a little bit stiffer suspension tuning and compromised more towards handling and maybe with a little bit harsher ride quality. We got some feedback from clients that, I really love the car. Maybe the suspension is a little bit stiff. The way people use the vehicle in most conditions, you want something that's comfortable. When you really push it, you want it to respond. But for those rare moments where you're really pushing it, that incremental benefit in handling is not really worth a trade-off in ride quality, that other 95% or 98% of the time that you're using the car. Let's face it, on the street, you're not racing against a clock. It's all very subjective. So getting that balance just right is really an art. And vehicle dynamics people, they're scientists, but they're also artists. And it really does take experience to be able to understand how all of the aspects of vehicle dynamics work together, because everything you change affects something else. You want better handling, you're generally going to give up ride quality. If you want to improve your grip in a corner, you might add more camber to the alignment, but then in a straight line, that's going to wear your tires out unevenly. You need to trade off low frequency tuning versus high frequency tuning. So low frequency would be like big undulations, like big up and down body motions, where high frequency would be things like potholes and rumble strips and sharp impacts that you'll encounter on public roads. Roll versus pitch. Roll is side to side motion, pitch is front to rear motion. And then, frankly, appearance. People tend to associate large wheels and tires with performance cars. And so there's always this kind of marketing pressure to just fit cars with larger and larger wheels and tires, although that may not really be the best solution for improving the performance of the vehicle. Anyway, the car that we loaned to Car and Driver, a couple of years ago that they did instrumented testing on, we gave them a car with this tire size, 17 by 8 with 245 section width tire, because it has plenty of grip and has good traction, and it looks kind of more natural on the car. It's not as extreme. It just really comes down to a matter of personal preference. If you want that more extreme tire, you're not really getting a performance benefit from it. But if you like the appearance, then sure. And that's why we offer it, frankly. I've talked about our design philosophy in the past. We're starting with an iconic design. It would be very presumptuous of us to change it for change's sake. We're not going to improve on this iconic design. But we will need to make some changes for functionality. And, the wheels are one of those changes. So we went to a 17-inch wheel, the package, larger brakes, and that's a trade-off that really makes sense. You definitely need the improved braking performance in a car with, this much capability, this much power, and the handling capability. So we'll deviate where it's necessary for function, but we won't just deviate arbitrarily because we think something looks good or something like that. So I think we're pretty much sticklers for authenticity when it comes to aesthetics. So back to the part about why we updated the shock tuning. You know, we received some feedback from some of our clients who own the supercharged cars that their ride was maybe stiffer than they like. And so we took a look at it and enlisted the experts from Cayman Dynamics. This is a company based in Michigan that does a lot of work with OEMs on vehicle dynamics and tuning, chassis tuning. The people who founded this are former vehicle dynamics engineers from Ford. So they really have the perfect background and experience to do this kind of work. So we spent a few days with them with a test vehicle, and they came back with revised shock valving and spring rates. Went with slightly softer springs front and rear and different shock valving that really improved the ride quality and, you know, frankly didn't really sacrifice handling very much. It is a fine balance because everything you changes something else, but you know, you can take it to a certain level of proficiency, but if you want to really get something dialed in perfectly, you really need people who specialize in that, and they just do it all day, every day. That's what we did, and we're really happy with the outcome. So that's another example of continuous improvement from Revology cars. We can never leave well enough alone. Everything can always be made better. We're always iterating, always trying to make things better and better. That's just in our nature. It's who we are. Continuous improvement is what we're all about.